my name is Avery. I like books. Sorry for the lighting. And this is a combined November book haul and wrap up. So this is combined because obviously it's very, late. It's more than halfway into December, but also because I didn't read or get that many books this month. So I could just kind of put them all together, and that's that. So I got 5 books in November, and I'm just going to briefly talk about them. So the first book, which to me is very exciting, to other people probably isn't, but this is the German version of my favorite book of all time. So in English it's called When You Reach Me. It's by Rebecca Steed, but in German it's Du weißt, wo du mich findest. I'm in love with it, and the cover is so pretty. I don't know, I love it, and I'm very excited to read my favorite book in German. The next book is the November book for Alcrate, so if you don't want to be spoiled, skip a little, like a minute or whatever. And this is Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Poston. I'm trying to get it not to be glary, but I think the original cover of this is white and they changed it to be black. I might try to pop the original cover there. It also comes with sprayed edges. I don't really know what this is about. I think it's like folklore and something, and I don't know, but the cover is very nice and hopefully I enjoy it. And the sprayed edges, I mean, come on, like. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, so Alcrate's been doing like the inside flap gets artwork, so this is like the really pretty art on the inside. All of Alcrate's books are actually also signed, so that's cool. Great. If you can't tell, I'm bad at talking about books that I haven't read yet, because I don't like reading like synopses, so we're just gonna struggle through it. The next book I got is The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. Again, it's very but I got this book because it's like witches in college and culty vibes. I don't know, this cover too is also very pretty, I think, despite the Barnes & Noble sticker in the back. Like, oh gosh, it's very nice. The next book I got is To Kill a Kingdom by, I actually don't know who this is by, Alexandra Christo. And this is a Little Mermaid retelling with kind of, I guess, like a siren likes to eat princes, but then she falls in love with the prince. I don't really know, but I love mermaids. Like, mermaids are probably my favorite mythical creature. And the last book that I got this month is solely because of the author. I don't actually really know what this is about. It's like a contemporary, but it's Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer. She wrote the Curse Breaker, I think, series, which is, A Curse So Dark and Lonely and A Heart So Fierce and Broken and whatever. But I think that the two characters write back and forth something. I don't know. I like young adult contemporary and I like this author, so I'm hoping that this is good. That's it for the haul. Now let's talk about the books that I did read in November. I'll start with the books that were for school. So the first two I'm going to just briefly talk about. One kind of like I read 7 books in November, but one of them I don't know if I found it on Goodreads, so I'm counting as a book, but it's like a chapter. Okay, so the first book I read was the Gospel of Matthew from the Bible. Again, this was for school. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to talk about it. It's the Bible. The next one that I read is actually the longest surah in the Quran, which is called The Cow, and that's the one that I'm saying, like, I'm not sure if you count it as a book because it's kind of like a chapter, but like I was able to find it as like just a book on Goodreads, and I read both of these for one of my classes this quarter. I read those for a class, as well as a novella from this book, which is Basic Writings on Existentialism, but I read from that Saint Manuel Bueno, Martyr by Miguel de Unamuno y Hugo, and this novella, so I kind of have been like staying away from like rating books for school, unless if they're like amazing, or if there's something that like I'm like is rateable, like things from like the Bible or like the Quran are like kind of unrateable. They're just kind of like, how am I supposed to rate like some religious text? But this was a novella, and it was really great. I rated it 5 stars. It's about a priest well, okay, so it talks about a girl in this really small town in Mexico, and she basically is telling the story about this priest that her town like idolizes, and that's what the title character is, Saint Manuel Bueno. And it follows that, but then it also is about like self-loathing, and there's just like, oh, this book was so good. It was a little boring at first, but then like after like I got into it, it was so good. This is definitely like, if you are looking for like a novella that's like deep and like classic literature. I don't know, I've never heard of it before this class, but I wish I had. It was really good. Like, it questions like what is a good thing and how do you define good if you're acting on the behalf of other people. It was a very interesting read and I enjoyed it. The next book that I read, I'm not actually doing this in order. I'm just going in the order of the stack that I have here. I actually don't know where the book of this is, but I know where the dust jacket is. This is actually my sister's, and she lost the whole book somehow, even though it's like 500 pages. But that's The School for Good and Evil number 4, which is called Quest for Glory. This is by Salman Chinini. If you don't know, I've been rereading these books. Well, I reread the first 3, and then the second trilogy I haven't read before, so this is the first book I hadn't like read before in this series. And basically, I hate this series. So I used to love it, and now I don't. I don't recommend it. It's very problematic, and this book itself, this one, is actually really boring. There's like nothing that happens. Everything is like obvious. Like every like reveal is like the most obvious thing in the world. So like honestly, this one could have been mixed in with the next one, but I gave this one 2 stars. This series as a whole follows Sophie and Agatha, who live in a world where like every 4 years 2 people from their town get stolen, and then later they find them in storybooks, and then so you find out that they go to like a school for good and a school for evil. So Sophie and Agatha, of course, since they're the main characters, they get whisked off to this school and leave their ordinary lives for, you know, fairy tale like land, you know. So that's this series. This one's not good. I don't recommend it at all. The next book that I read is actually in one of the like 5-star prediction videos I did like years ago, but I never got to it because it intimidated me. That's The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I think I'm saying that right. I looked it up before. So this book is a historical fiction about a boy, Amir, and his friend, kind of Hassan, and it goes between talking about like the past and his childhood, this is from Amir's point of view, where like all these events happened, and then talking about like the present for them, which is like more contemporary in like San Francisco, and it's basically about you know, dealing with the trauma that you inflict on others and that you internalize. And it talks a lot about like societal like norms and like toxic masculinity and all this stuff. I was really excited for it. I was a little bit let down by it because it's not about the writing. I don't really know. It's just something didn't do it for me. It was a little bit like but I gave it 4 stars. I still would recommend it. I thought it was really good. The writing is magnificent in this book. And then I also think I hyped it up a lot in my head before reading this. So 4 stars for this one. The next book and the last physical book that I own that I read, it was a manga, and that's Daytime Shooting Star Volume 1 by Mika Yamamori. This is actually the German version. Like, hold on, if you can see that, but it's the German version. So, in German, the series I think is called Du bist mein Stern, but I didn't want to rate this one because I found it to be a little bit like, just kind of like, like I feel like if I were to rate it, I'd give it like a 3 or a 2, but I feel like since I'm reading it in a language that I'm not a native speaker of, I could have just like messed it up for myself a little bit, so I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and just give it no rating. I thought it was cute, kind of fun, and I have the 2nd volume, so I am excited to read that. The last book that I read is a very popular book, and I don't have it. I read it from like Amazon, whatever, like Kindle for Prime or whatever, it was free. and that's The Sun and Her Flowers by Ruby Kaur. I'll pop it up there. This is a poetry collection. There's not really much to talk about because it's a poetry collection. I mean, I thought this one was better than Milk and Honey, which is the like most popular one that she wrote, and like kind of one of the most famous like contemporary poetry collections, I would say, like of now. So this one I thought had better themes that it talked about, and it was less like roundabout, like, so like if you didn't like Milk and Honey because you thought it was like too redundant, this one would probably be better for you. It follows like the themes or like the path of like something growing, you know, the sun and her flowers. My favorite ones were, I don't remember off the top of my head. I think Wilting and Falling, but that might not be correct. I just remember there was a whole section where she was talking about her relationship with her mother and like her mother's past, and I thought that that part was so good. It talks a lot about like the immigrants, like issues that immigrants face, and oh, this one was way better than Milk and Honey. I give this one 4 stars. That's that, and that is all the books that I read. So thank you for watching. If you want to see my reviews as I do them, my Goodreads is linked below, my Bookstagram is linked below, which it's not as whatever, you know, yeah, so thank you, bye.